What's up, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour. It is Monday, April 5th, 2021, and it's National Title Game Monday. The last time this year we will be talking about college basketball. We've made it. We are here. Gonzaga Baylor getting it going tonight from Indianapolis for all the marbles. It's an exciting day. We're breaking it all down. We're going to give you one of the most detailed breakdowns you'll find. And we're here on the Hoops Betting Hour, presented by Pickswise and powered by FanDuel. I'm the big man on campus, and he's Donnie Rightside. Donnie, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Saturday night, so much fun. And if you would have said, like, one game was going to be horrendous, the other one was going to be really good, I think we would have switched both of them over, Jeff. But that Gonzaga game was so much fun to watch. And that's coming from me, which actually had an under wager in that game, lost money, but was able to still tune in all the way through. And, Jeff, before the game, I'm like, all right, man. I don't think anybody's beating Gonzaga. I don't think Gonzaga is going to lose to UCLA. So I hedged my future wager on Baylor plus 600 with some action on Gonzaga. And I'm watching this game go through. I'm like, look at UCLA playing the absolute perfect game. They're going to end up knocking Gonzaga off. I'm going to eat right into my profit. I was cheering like I had a Gonzaga ticket, Jeff, in my back pocket towards the end of that game. When that three ball went down, I felt like I won the title, Jeff, after that.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that. That was quite the finish. Where does it rank, as far as the greatest shots ever in college hoops? We also obviously are going to break the game down, which we're excited about tonight. We finally down to get the game that I think all of us wanted. And I will say right out of the gate, you've commented on this. It's kind of been irritating, but I am going to comment on it too. 9:20? I mean, we can't have this game at 8:15. Like,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I don't care because I don't go to bed till late anyway. But it's almost just like, I don't know. It just doesn't. It never has really made a ton of sense to me from a standpoint of anything. But I guess it's what it has a lot to do, Donnie, is just the fact that you get very little out of those pregame shows.
Nothing.
Where it's like. If there was let's say it was really good, like betting analysis or like hard hitting stuff, it's like, well, okay. But it's like, what are we doing? Like, we're just doing these dumb, like, stories about both teams. And Charles is giving his dumb opinions about basketball. And like, what's the point of it? Like, why are we waiting till 9:20 to start the game?
And there's not really the buildup is fantastic because it's the game we all wanted. I get it, but it's not a full building. There's only so many things you could talk about, and we don't have surprise stories, Jeff. Like, they're not like, hey, after Saturday night, let's do a ton on UCLA because we didn't do much on them before the tournament. What have you heard from day one in basketball season? It's Baylor, it's Gonzaga, it's everybody else. We knew they were coming from a long line away. There's no surprises here. So we're not going to have these in-depth interviews an hour before. Oh, my God. I never knew who Corey Kispert was. Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. But thanks, everybody, for watching. We are here on a Monday, National Title Monday. And we all know that tonight's game is going to be high level. But let's look back, Donnie, at Saturday. Really great night of basketball. We obviously had Houston go down to Baylor. And, I'll tell you this, that game surprised me. I liked Houston. I think there's a lot of people that liked Houston. I think a lot of people felt like maybe they can match up with what Baylor was doing. But, Donnie, it's not a great tonic when you can't get stops and you don't make any shots. And the other team doesn't miss. It's hard to stay in games like that. The only time Baylor didn't lead was 3-0. Houston was up 3-0. That was the only time they had a lead in the game. It went downhill quick.
No, it certainly did. I had I went 1-1 on the show plays, and the easy one was Baylor first half -2.5. They're up 25. I actually was just messing around. Some family came over. I'm like, I saw the live line, Jeff, on FanDuel at the half was plus 23.5. For Houston. So I'm like, I have to dip into that. Kids are going to have some pride. They did have some pride, but it was right around that number all second half. So thank goodness that one came in to get me a little bit of my money back because the game we're going to talk about next, I got filleted right off the bat. And that's okay. Sometimes, teams play really well. But getting back to the original point, Baylor is back to what we thought Baylor was. And that is fantastic for a game tonight, Jeff. I'm really excited to break that one down. We'll do that in just a little bit. But Baylor played exactly the way I thought Baylor looked all year long. And once they got after that COVID break, that's a really good basketball team.
Yeah, you got to wonder if they didn't have coronavirus, that little break, would they be undefeated as well? I mean, they've looked every bit great, and now a lot of people I think are going to obviously pick them to beat Gonzaga. Donnie, we flip-flopped on our picks. You got the Baylor game right. I got the Gonzaga game right. So it was kind of a flip-flop. This guy says, Nadu had a great pick with Houston +5. Yeah, well, I did also have a great pick with over in the Gonzaga game. You didn't mention that one, though. Make sure you mention both.
We take the winners and the losers, and it's a good one here. So, leading off, there wasn't a lot of intrigue in that game, and I was joking, and you guys, see me on Twitter. I'm literally looking at the next game with Gonzaga UCLA, Jeff, and I'm going, it's just going to be an early night. Maybe Gonzaga's up 10 at the break, they stretch it to 15 early, and then it's hey, there's no real intrigue.
Yeah.
But segueing into this UCLA game, and I saw a lot of people on Twitter. Let's get something straight in this game. That was not an indictment of, Gonzaga, we waited 40 games and they're finally showing their true colors. This was absolute perfection.
Yeah,
this was making every single possible shot. Being down 5 points, needing a 3, getting a 3. Needing a rebound, getting it. UCLA shot damn near 60+% from the floor on a team that I don't think is very good on offense. So that's where I'm going to start this breakdown of that Gonzaga game, where not an indictment of Gonzaga. Oh, look at this. Baylor's going to kill them now. Absolutely not. UCLA, and it was rightfully said, Jeff, after the game by the panelists, UCLA would have beat every single team in the country by a wide margin, but they had to play Gonzaga.
Yeah, it is disturbing, though, that they just couldn't get stops. I mean, after a while, it was just everything was wide open, Donnie. You can't admit that.
But big guy, guys that don't make jumpers are knocking down 19-foot jumpers.
But the kids make a wide open.
Embiid.
But it was making wide open jumpers. That's what I'm. You're right, and they did make every shot they had. Their mid-range percentage was incredible.
Outrageous.
I can't imagine remembering a time they missed a mid-range jumper in that game. It was just everything. You knew pretty early that Gonzaga, if you laid the points, you weren't going to win. I mean, because I think at one point they went up 6 or 7, and you're thinking, all right, 10 minutes to go. Here's the opportunity, win by 15, but it never came. And we talked about it. We talked about it on this show. You got to give credit to Cronin. I mean, he's never been thought of as an offensive guy, and I think he was probably even surprised a little bit at points with this team offensively, because they have guys that, outside of Juzang, there's not a lot of excitement. They were missing a couple of guys this season, but what an impressive run, what an impressive program. And I look, it's funny because you look at the top 100 next year, Donnie, recruits, not one player for UCLA. I think that's going to change over the next couple of years. They're going to get some big time players to come in and play there because of how good Cronin was this season. And Johnny Juzang, Donnie, all of a sudden, after these last couple of games, he's an NBA kind of talent. So you really play yourself in, and they were terrific. But you look at the last sequence, basically. So for basically the last 6 minutes of the game, the 5 minutes of overtime, and then the last minute of regulation, the charge that Timmy takes against Juzang is really a wild, gutsy play, because whether you believe it was a charge or not, it's still a gutsy thing to do. If you get that wrong, he's going to the line with no time left, basically. You've lost the game, basically. He needs to make one foul shot. Then obviously in overtime, you had to kind of figure, though, Donnie, Gonzaga was going to find a way. I didn't think it would be like that. But
no, and they were up 5 with a minute to go. And it's all right, just don't let them shoot the 3 ball. Boom, 3 ball goes down. UCLA countered everything. Last minute of the game. Now I'm waiting for him. This is a terrible scenario, because you figure UCLA, and credit UCLA, credit their coaches and their kids. They were down 2. They took the rock right to the rim and got the second putback layup there. I was waiting for let me just dribble it all the way down, step back 3 with 2 guys in their face, brick, and another team wins. Credit UCLA for doing everything right in that spot. But you brought up a good point, Jeff. Johnny Juzang, right? Most of the country, no idea. Cast off from Kentucky. Don't really see UCLA much. Kid now probably first-round NBA talent, Jeff. So should he be this morning hashtagging not NCAA property, because NCAA stole all his stuff, right? Didn't help him.
I don't think he was on that group. Really. I don't think he was part of that group, as far as I know. But listen, he was very good.
He's a star now.
Yeah, he is. Mm-hmm. Donnie, I will say this as well. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I will. Donnie, was there anyone that put the first half team total for Gonzaga out more than us? I mean, we've been banging that drum really since I think this show started. I mean, Donnie, the last time they didn't go over 38 basically in the first half, you got to go way back to February 4th. I mean, this team, like, every
look at the game. Look at the UCLA game, Jeff. UCLA got a rebound, handed it over to Tiger, and he walked up the court, and they didn't even start their offense for like 9 seconds on the shot clock, and it still got there.
Yeah, still went. I think they had 45 or something at halftime.
Yep, and also, our same comment as well. Gonzaga, look at the game tonight, Jeff. And I say this every time Gonzaga plays. Okay, let's pencil Gonzaga in for 80 every night.
Yeah, that's what. And again, when we break this game down, we'll talk about how this game's just going to be magical from a scoring standpoint. But the games were great. Let me ask you, because I've been having this, and mostly it's been very good, positive conversation. I've got a lot of run out of these comments recently on Twitter sometimes when you make an argument, Donnie, there's just the right argument, right? Like, so you say, you look outside, hey, the sky's blue today. It is. It's blue every day. But there'll always be someone, it's red. No, it isn't. It's blue. That's an argument, right? Another argument to make is Chris Jenkins from Villanova has the greatest shot in the history of basketball, because I look at it and say, well, okay, all the other ones are really great. Leitner and all these other ones. There was only one that won the title, right? Jenkins. So I put him at number one. But I'm starting to look at it and I'm saying, well, that shot the other night, that puts you into the title game, undefeated. Leitner might be number 3 after these last couple of years. But I still
go ahead.
I still just can't comprehend how there's anyone that will say that Jenkins' shot was elite. It was against North Carolina of all teams as well, on the last shot to win the title. That's the shot. And I brought this up because the Leitner thing, it just passed like 29 years ago, whatever it was. And you over the weekend, because again, you grew up in that time period where that was a norm. But you have to agree the Jenkins shot is elite, man. And this number 2 Suggs one might be right there.
It was elite. It really was. But there's something, because I've seen them all. And, very few times where you're going to go. And there's no right answer in this, which is the great part about it. Like when Jeff puts out here's my top 10, Sopranos characters. Ha, Jeff, you're wrong. But it's Jeff's. So it is right. That's with the way he thinks. So a lot of people will come on and say, oh, you're absolutely wrong. Just to me, the Duke one was so iconic because they had won a championship the year before. They were trying to repeat. They missed that shot. They go home. He makes that shot. They go on and win another title. I love the Chris Jenkins one. I cheered it on. It was great. But it was roughly a regular 3-point shot where if he bricked it, there's no pressure. They go to overtime.
Yeah, but it still won the title. And that
was great. And I'm not taking anything away from it. It was awesome.
And the play
fantastic.
Was elite, the way they made
it was drawn up. It was perfect. It won a title. The packed house, 80,000 people there. We had Twitter. We had social media. It was awesome. I wouldn't take anything away. But when I look at that Duke team, and I tweeted yesterday, they were rock stars. They were like Motley Crue, Metallica, and New Kids on the Block combined in one. That team was unbelievable. If there was Twitter in today's age, unbelievable stuff.
I hear you.
Probably the most famous team of all time, that Duke 91-92.
We just have to stop calling it the shot. It's not the shot. It was a great shot. It's a top 5 shot, but it's been overtaken at this point, especially after Saturday. Because you could put that shot above the Leitner one as well.
No, that was a tie game, though. That's the only. If it wasn't, now it would get it would get the boost if they were down 2 points and he hit that. I take, and the same thing with the Chris Jenkins. If Villanova was down 1 point,
but that took them to the Final Four. That's great, but it's like this won the game. This took them. These 2 shots were way bigger. They were way more important.
No. See, but again, there's no wrong answer, but I'm just looking at it as Leitner's shot doesn't go down. Duke's not iconic. That shot goes down. Duke back-to-back championships.
I don't know if they're not iconic. I mean, they still.
Look at that team though. Bobby Hurley, Thomas Hill, Antonio Lang, Brian Davis, Leighton, or Grant Hill, and Cherokee Parks. Like they are like pantheon of like kids' childhoods. Like with me growing up, there was no more team. I remember going down to Duke. I think it was the 90-91 season, and I went on a teacher's break with my stepfather, who's a basketball coach, to watch their practice. And I remember seeing Christian Leitner walk around on campus, and it was like seeing Michael Jackson. Like the dude was a rock star, man. It was crazy.
That's how I felt when I saw Penny Hardaway a couple years ago at Temple.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a player anymore. He was just a coach.
Yeah.
He walks out of the tunnel with his foam posits on. I'm just like, whoa, that's Penny Hardaway.
And by the way, Jeff, you're right. It's cool seeing these guys because, like, from your childhood, Penny Hardaway was, a superstar, and you finally get to see him in person. It is pretty cool stuff. But going back looking, and I also had a tweet, Jeff, and this is why college basketball is sensational. The play that you got out of Gonzaga, Jeff, never happens in the NBA. Can you imagine if in a Eastern Conference Final Game 7, LeBron had like 3 seconds, went coast to coast, and dropped a 45-footer banker to win it? We don't get that in the NBA. We lose that because of that timeout rule, that coast-to-coast, unbelievable, so much fun play. The NBA has none of that, zero.
Wow. I mean, did you miss the Michael Jordan era? I mean, he had tons of.
He inbounded the ball in the baseline and ran 40 feet and shot a three.
Buzzer beater. So what? Because it was 10 feet back. It was a way better play. The Craig Elo.
Way better play. Well, I mean, there's buzzer beaters, but you don't get that miracle play. That wasn't a miracle play. Jordan hit a 17-foot jumper.
Hate the whole you have to inbound it from the other end because it very rarely equates for a buzzer. I mean, I guess you get them, but there's not many. I like
you have the iconic shots of all time are all college basketball, all of them. Like the buzzer beaters at the end of the game, they are so much fun, man.
I mean, no one's going to argue, but this is your, this is your same tired ploy to.
But I would love it though. Like, can you imagine like Kobe, like in the NBA Finals, had to go coast to coast, launch a 50-footer for the win? No, holy cow!
You'll never know,
there'd be statues all over the place. It'd be so much fun.
So is Kobe any less of a player because he didn't do that?
No, but you don't have the iconic plays that college. That's why I love college basketball. College basketball is you got to earn it, man. They don't give you anything for free, man.
So the Craig Elo play is not,
no, it's a big. But again, it's a 15-foot jumper. Okay, it's great.
I mean, the Leitner play is a jumper.
Yeah, but the Leitner play was a full court play. Like that's just so awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, but I again prefer at least we know in the last play in the NBA we're always going to get 90% of the time a legit play. How many? I mean, let's just ask ourselves this: in 100 of those plays, Donnie, how many buzzer beaters do we see? Maybe one.
See, that's the cool part. Yes, that's the cool part.
But it also sucks when
it doesn't because you don't deserve it. Yeah, but the fun is you don't deserve it in the NBA. Like the buzzer beater, well. I mean, you called a timeout and moved it up 65 feet and you hit a 17-foot jumper. I mean, yay, okay. But the fact that you got to play some like the Homer Drew plays back in the day, they're so much fun. That's why we love March Madness because it provides us with those crazy scenarios almost on a day-to-day basis.
We could also make the case, too, that in college basketball, there are way too many timeouts. Oh, and that's in both.
Way too many. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Why do you get 2 more timeouts in overtime? You should be like, hey, you already used yours, so you don't get any more.
And I've said this time and time again. If a team calls a timeout at 8:03, that's the media, for Christ's sake.
Yes,
stop doing 8:03 and then at 7:54, another media timeout.
Yes.
Brutal.
Another 3-minute commercial that comes around. I don't know. Hey, I know TV rules the roost, but you're so right on that stuff. Because, Jeff, let's equate overtime in NCAA basketball. You get 2 more timeouts. If you fouled out, why don't you get an extra foul and can come off the bench? I mean, come on, let's just make it all fair.
But I was always told, at least from my standpoint, is the refs decided, hey, if it's 8:02, that'll just be.
Yes, I think in the regular season they get away with that more because doing games in college basketball, I see that a lot where I'm ready to, put on a pause and
this year
right through.
They're way more inclined to show the commercials, and they need to get all the money they can get. All right, so yeah.
Fun, man. I love this. There's so much. I don't think there's anybody that turned that game off Saturday night. And if you did, shame on you because you really missed a lot of fun, man. It was when I look at gambling and basketball, that's college basketball to me. That was so much fun to watch.
I actually will call someone out. Wildly enough, Ryan Donnie.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know, Ryan is a good friend of mine. I hadn't seen him in a while. So I called him. I said, yo, I was going to go to the casino, but I said, you know what? Why don't you come over? We'll watch the games. We eat, whatever. So he comes over. We eat. We do, and the first game sucked, right? So by the end of it, we were eating, whatever. And halftime comes at Gonzaga UCLA. I'm leaving. I'm heading home. What? I said, what do you mean you're heading home? He goes, I'm tired. I'm like, but the game's, what? And he leaves. It's just like.
And it was a holiday the next day. Jeez.
Yeah. It's like, all right. Good luck. Enjoy. Okay. Then it ended up being a buzzer beater. And I sat here and,
But because we were going back and forth behind the scenes, and I felt so because before the game, I never in my wildest dreams thought Gonzaga would actually be in trouble in this game. Maybe a close game where they win by 5 or 6. Okay. But I took out that prop and I'm like, good, it's never going to be there on Monday at this price. I think Gonzaga is going to win. So I'm going to jump it. I'm going to make sure that I make money in this tournament. And I'm watching this like, I'll be damn, I'm going to lose this game. Are you kidding me? Thank goodness. Because number one, it's money in my pocket. But number two, we deserved it. Nobody wanted Baylor versus UCLA, Jeff. Come on now, right? Come on.
No, I actually had
damn.
I actually had the tweet ready that if UCLA won, I would not watch a minute of this game.
I
would be watching baseball or something. Yeah, I'd be watching some Cake Boss or something.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the game here. Before we do that, Donnie, why don't you tell us about FanDuel and what they got going on?
FanDuel, look, I love it. It's a lot of the days of you using a local or, some offshore, and they don't have a lot of options. If you look today, if you want a player prop, they got tons of them. If you want a side, if you want a total, if you have work tonight and you got home at 9:25, Jeff, you're not left out of the party anymore. You can jump right in as these live lines pretty much don't lock, Jeff, until like the last minute and a half of the game. You have every opportunity to check about just about every single line you want. If you jump in tonight on Gonzaga minus the 4.5 or minus the 4, and you say, hey, they're down 10, you know what, Jeff? You could jump in again at them probably getting 4.5 at that point. Clean, quick sports book, up to date on everything. It's really the only way to go, man.
Yeah, it's the book I use, my choice book. Make sure if you're in a qualified area, you're using FanDuel. I'm not sure why you wouldn't be. By the way, the baseball lines are terrific as well. Donnie, in baseball, especially early in the season, underdogs are king. And for instance, on Saturday, prime example, I got a great number on, some of the games that I was playing, just like that. I thought it was Friday with the Orioles. They gave me a great line on the first 5 plus a half a run, and other books had it 8 cents higher. So, everything is kind of relative, and every cent means something, and you want to make sure you're getting the best. By the way, I want to go back to this comment. Read that comment, please.
Which, give me the name.
I posted it on the screen.
Oh, hold on. Let me look at my StreamYard account. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Donnie has been calling the Zags first half off tournament. Yes, I have, Jeff, so eat it. Thanks, Ken.
Donnie's been calling that? What?
Good. Thank you. I'll take the credit on all that stuff. So.
What's this guy on?
Love it. He's on my side. That's what he's on the right side, man. He's on the right side.
I brought that up weeks ago. All right, let's get into the game here.
No, this is great because I'm glad we have this game to talk about. It's what we deserved all year long, and going through all the COVID trials and tribulations, Jeff, to get Baylor and Gonzaga healthy on a Monday night. We're going to have some fun with this. Now, let's line it up here. Take a look at FanDuel. A little bit of line movement at other books here, but just looking at FanDuel itself, Jeff, the 4.5. I'm going to ask you a quick question before we get into it. More likely, I love to play this game. Line ends up 5 at game time, Jeff, or line ends up at 4 at game time?
4.
Quick. All right. I actually believe.
I don't think, from what I've noticed, there's a lot of gamblers taking Baylor. A lot of public bettors. A lot of there's a lot of sharp bettors taking Baylor. Listen, the line moves on these games. I'm not going to read a whole lot. There's going to be so much action on this game. Yeah. It's a great betting game from a if you have a book out there, it's going to be great action on this game. So, if you're a book, I don't think you're going to have a side that's going to be a liability or anything.
159.5, Jeff. We had an opening total at FanDuel, now down to 159. And I got to tell you, I agree with that just from a philosophical, perspective, that's a lot of points. That's 80 to 80. Both teams got to get in the 80s. Now you look at both of these teams. Can they do that? Yes. And also looking at the pace that Gonzaga plays, because I know Gonzaga listed on KenPom top 10 defense, Baylor 27. So you got two really good defensive teams out here. But the more I watch, if that game that we take a look at, UCLA, Jeff, doesn't stay under, with one team saying, I'm not pushing the rock, but continuously getting wide open jumpers. Baylor has daggers from 3-point range. Gonzaga, Jeff, as we know, does whatever they want against whoever's defense, and if you want to slow it down. So when we look at that number, it's priced right. Let's just roughly say 160. There's going to be a lot of opportunity to score here. Do you watch Gonzaga on the fast break? Jalen Suggs goes right to the rim every single time and forces you to A, foul him, or B, he lays it up or kicks it out to a wide open 3-point shot. It's amazing, fun stuff to watch, which is why Jeff will tell you, Gonzaga, one of the best offensive teams we've ever seen. There is a reason for that. But I think that over-under is a little bit high. But let's get down to the breaking points of this game, Jeff. Effective field goal percentage. Both top 5 in the country. One is number 4 being Baylor. One is number 1 being Gonzaga. Free throw shooting, not super elite, but good enough where if you get to the line, you can make your free throws. The one thing that I look at here, shooting percentage from 3-point range, they're going to get a lot of them. Baylor's going to get a lot of looks, Jeff, at 3. 41% on the season. You saw UCLA. You brought it up, Jeff. UCLA, everything was wide open. Baylor's going to get the same thing tonight. The question, Baylor's 3 balls, if they go down at a regular pace, which is insane at 41%, this game is going to be awesome.
No, it is going to be awesome. It's going to be an NBA, NBA talent type of game where you have killers on both sides, whether it's Butler or Mitchell or Teague or Timmy or Kispert or Sutton. I mean, there's just it's incredible on both sides. And that's the great thing about this game. You talked about the total at 159 it's at now.
Yeah.
And it is a high number, right? But you look at it and you ask yourself, where do the stops come from here?
Yeah.
Where does the pace not come from here? Where does the just elite bucket getting not come from here? Because you look at both sides, Donnie. I like to break how both offenses score. We watched the game on Saturday. This is a quick turnaround. There are very few adjustments you can make in this short amount of time. If you look at the defense for Gonzaga, it struggled, right? Let's just be honest with ourselves. If Cody Riley can destroy you, what's Baylor going to do? I mean, no offense to Cody Riley, but those shots that he was making, I thought every single time he shot him, I was like, well, that ain't going to go in.
Yeah, me too.
And he made it.
Yes.
You got killers at the guard position that are just going to make those shots. You look at Gonzaga, Baylor's not exactly good in the pick and roll defensively. I look at what do you do down low, Donnie? Because you have a weird situation if you're Drew. Your best defenders on defense are Tashawe and Flo Thamba. But those two players are very much useless on offense. And Vital is just too small. So what do you do there? You can't really stop Timmy. And as you said, you've got 2 guys in Kispert and Suggs and Nembhard. That's the 3 guys.
Yep, right to the rim, man.
Get to the rim. They don't not get to the rim. And let's be real, Donnie. Gonzaga, I see everything in the game when I watch it. They missed a lot of layups. They could have had 90 in regulation. You mentioned it. The pace dictated a low-scoring game.
Yes.
And sometimes pace, for me, all the time, pace is important. But if efficiency's there, efficiency's there. And not only in this game do you have one team that's efficient, you have 2 teams that are efficient. And I think a lot of people are going to look at this total and say, it's too high. But I almost looked at it like, I feel like if it was 170, so be it. That's okay. Because I don't know if they'll both get to 85. But this game kind of screamed like 83-80 to me. Like I think both teams offensively are very good. I think they're just going to go back and forth. The number is dictating that it's going to be somewhat close. Baylor's got a shot to win with the number at 4.5. I don't see where there's a ton of defense played here, especially off the short rest. Not a ton of time for adjustments. You just kind of go out there and you let it go. You let it fly. I know both these teams can score. I'm going to recommend a play on the over 159 here, but I'm also going to recommend a play because I've done it all the whole time we've had this show. Gonzaga's team total in the first half is, if you can update me, I think it's
38.5, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, they get 40. Is this game going to start out 7-4 at the under 4 timeout, under 16 timeout?
But even if it does,
but it's not.
The pace is incredible by Gonzaga. That's because they always push. Everybody's pushing. Every offensive possession in this game is going to get a really good look at the rim, and not where it's like, hey, look, Jeff, UCLA walked it up the court, did not care about anything, and got a wide open look within 10 seconds every single time.
Yeah.
Every time.
And put it, and let me also make this clear. When you look at pace, UCLA's tempo is, I believe, 330th in America.
So slow, snails.
7 teams. And we saw it. Donnie's right. They literally were walking it up. Before possession, they're taking 20 seconds to decide what they're going to do every time. But Gonzaga is so elite in transition that right off the miss, they're already running to the under end of the court. And they're just outletting it to the big or to Suggs or whoever, and it's layup city. You have a team in Baylor here that is going to oblige the tempo, okay? So Gonzaga runs a top 3 adjusted tempo in America. So every possession, it's boom, 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 boom. Baylor's at 129. They're pretty fast as well. So there's just, and I hate to keep using this phrase, but there are 4 or 5 bucket getters on the floor at all times. I mean, let's just be honest. Baylor's got 4, whether it's Meyer, Teague, Mitchell, or Butler, or whoever. And Gonzaga, the thing about Gonzaga, Donnie, is there's no weak link on offense. Every one of them is good.
Yes.
Now, here's the issue. And I can't handicap this, and I won't try to handicap it. But if there's a fly in the ointment, if you will, in a total. Was that?
Ref show?
Yes, where Timmy has to sit, right? Yeah. Because Gonzaga's offense becomes not necessarily bogged down, but it does, because they are very good 1 to 5. And even, whether you go with, whoever, but the second level, like if you have to bring Watson in, he's not efficient offensively, right?
Yeah.
So that's the issue here. And, if there's an issue, it's that, but I have a hard time envisioning this not back and forth. I think it'd
also
be a great
Jeff Baylor as well. Let's just say Timmy does go down, and you lose the rebounding factor. Also, Baylor I saw was 3rd in the country at second chance points. That is massive, absolutely massive in this, to get those extra putbacks right at the rim. So that's going to be something to play into it. So looking at this, I'll go first in this game. This is really tough for me because and this is coming from perspective, Jeff. Either way, I'm going to win money tonight, but I do win more money with Baylor. My brackets all have Baylor in it. But as gamblers, you take that out of the equation. That's nice if it does win, but you got to look at it on a singular game basis. Do I think Baylor has a legitimate chance to win? Absolutely, I do. But I agree with you. The winner, Jeff, are we shocked if the winner does not at least get to 80 points tonight?
Yes.
And that's where I'm going with my play. So I'm going to look at a team total where the pace is going to be there. If they don't make the shots, I live with it myself. I'm actually, Jeff, going to take a Baylor full game team total over 77.5. I would be surprised if Gonzaga wins 85-65. I really would. I would be surprised, Jeff, if Baylor won 85-65. I can see free throws coming into play here. Both of these teams in the high 70s with 5 minutes to go. And I think Baylor has a decent shot to get to that 80 mark and win. Again, not shocked if Gonzaga wins the game and covered. Not. I don't want that to come into play for me. I'm going Baylor's team total over 77.5 tonight. Those 3 balls go down. The pace will be there. A lot of fun to watch. That's the way I'm going with it tonight.
Yeah, the pace is going to be there. And, when you're really looking at the other side, you're saying, okay, who wins and covers? We really haven't talked about that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I think Gonzaga, weirdly enough, is going to, I don't think, need that 6th guy to step up. But you got to wonder, I mean, Baylor has other guys that could come in and do something, whether it's, Meyer or, They have these kind of infusions off the bench. Flagler, they have those guys. Does Gonzaga? And I feel like that could be a difference in this game, just with the fact that, maybe, someone goes out. I mean, is it going to be surprising, Donnie, if Timmy goes out with two fouls? That won't surprise me. Yeah. I don't know does Gonzaga have that guy? I don't know if they have that guy. And I think in the guts of the game, I heard Jay Williams, who I'm not a huge fan of, but he made that point. In the guts of the game here, do you trust – it's really who do you trust more? Mitchell, Teague, and Butler, or Kispert, Suggs, Timmy? You have a hard time not – I mean, at least me personally, I love Gonzaga. But those kids on the other side, man, are really good. And are they – let me ask you, who's the better team in this game? Like overall team?
Just starting five?
Just the entire team. Who's – I think it's Baylor.
I think Baylor can get just as much athletic – I should say athletes off the bench than Gonzaga can. Yes. More athletes.
Yeah, but and you're getting 4.5 with that team. But as I said before, if I had to pick, I do think it's a really great game. I do. I think Gonzaga will find a way. I think it's probably 83-80, something like. It's probably a close game. I'm not going to bet it just because I have no great edge. I think the number's probably right where it probably should be. I'm kind of right in that 1-4 range. That's kind of where I think the game ends up, and I have a hard time playing the side. But I like the total. I think it's a really high level offensive game. I don't think anyone's at the end of the night going to be like, wow, these defenses suck. It's just, no, both are really good on offense. It's that simple.
We may never see anything like this again, too, Jeff. For a full season here, looking at Baylor as a team, everybody who shot over 43s, which means you're probably averaging at least taking 2 or more threes per game. Mm-hmm. Jared Butler, 41%. Matthew Mayer, 40%. Davion Mitchell, 45%. Maceo Teague, 40%. Adam Flagler, 42%.
Crazy.
LJ Cryer, 37%. The key component for me, Jeff, and you can't take a ton out of what you saw last game, but the single fact is you've said this a lot during the tournament. Gonzaga does have a little bit of, a gap on their defense. UCLA was wide open after wide open after wide open. The last team, Jeff, I'm looking at wide open looks from three is Baylor. Yeah. They're going to be there. They're going to be able to drive to the rim. They're going to be able to dribble, penetrate, and kick out for three. We're not even saying, Jeff, sometimes you have a team that shoots 32% by volume. Hey, if they can go above their average by a little bit, they'll be really good. If Baylor hits just their average as a team of close to 42%, amazing.
Yeah, it's high level. And look, let's just be real. I mean, Gonzaga's no slouch either. I mean, they don't miss shots, and that's just where I feel like, look, if this is a 65, 62 game, so be it.
I'll just say, hey, it is what it is, man.
Like I see, yeah, and it's going to take terrible shooting, and I hope that doesn't happen because these two teams are really great, and we deserve a great final. Let me ask you, Donnie, as far as anticipation for this game.
Yeah.
Does it kind of lend to some of the other final? Because let's be real, the last couple of years, I don't know if the finals were that into, was Virginia Tech?
It's hard. It's hard. Because honestly, we're now differentiating between fans and gamblers. Every game I love because it's a gambling situation. Is this one that I look forward to? Yes, but I don't know where it stands. Is this one of the most anticipated? I would have to go back and think about it. It's a great one. Don't get me wrong. It's one we expected. I don't know, though. It's a good question. How about you?
Yeah, and also, I don't know. I think it's a great game. I think if you're not tied in with basketball, I don't think you're that interested probably, but who cares about those people? JD Phillips says Oklahoma State and Kansas have the blueprint on how to be Baylor. No, they don't. I don't think they do. That was a Baylor team coming off of COVID issues. I think that argument is a tough one. Listen, what happened during the regular season does not matter right now. Okay, these two teams.
Because otherwise, you'd say UCLA wouldn't have made it first the Michigan State game.
Hey, UCLA got crushed against in one of the games against
USC.
Yeah, I mean. I think they scored under 65 points in both games. So Yeah, I think we have to kind of pull back. Listen, I don't. If someone comes on here and tells you all about how great team, that doesn't matter, right? Because we've talked about it. If Baylor didn't have a COVID pause, they may have been undefeated as well.
Yeah.
We may have two teams here
Wow,
vying for an undefeated season. How crazy would that be?
That would have been crazy.
But I really, at the end of the day, hope Few gets it. I've kind of marveled, and you know me, Donnie. Over the years, we've been doing shows a long time. I've always marveled in Mark Few. I think he's the best coach in the country. I think you can make the case he's one of the great coaches in the history of the sport. Just with the amount of, whether you're Bill Self or Mike Krzyzewski or whoever, Roy Williams, you're always getting the best players, right? They're always coming to you. You're getting Grant Hill and Christian Laettner and all these guys. Gonzaga for long periods, it was always, we're going to go out and have to recruit guys. We're going to have to get kids from Europe and Australia and all these places to come in. And we're going to have to really have a big effort to do all this every year. It was only recently where they're getting, a kid to transfer in like a Wiltshire or whoever. It's just good, high level, long-term players that are, and look at this team, Donnie. They have 5 guys. It's not, we got 10 dudes. Like, just because you have 10 dudes doesn't mean you're going to win. Like, Florida State has 10 dudes every year. They don't ever win. You need consistency. And I know this team doesn't necessarily have consistency because Nembhard just came in, Suggs just came in, but you have the Timmy who was there last year. You have the some of the guys. And it's just a really incredible story. I mean, we don't give Few enough. Like, Donnie, when Few came to Gonzaga, they were basically present day, like Long Beach State or something. Like, they were like a team.
Any average West Coast Conference team. That's what they were.
Yeah.
Portland. This could be Portland, Yeah.
Yeah. Like, let's say San Francisco. That's what Gonzaga was. Now they are every year a 1 seed. Every year they're going to get Chet Holmgren, the number 1 recruit in the country. Like, they're getting that type of player now. It's really incredible, the success that he's had. So let's kind of we went so far into this game. Let's just kind of say, like, for me, Donnie, what are you on? Give me a prediction how the game.
I think both teams approach the 80s. If I'm betting the side, which I did not, I would be taking Baylor with the 4.5 because I can see a knockdown, drag out. What an unbelievable back and forth game. I could see Baylor winning this game outright. It's not any huge. Again, we're talking a 4.5 point line. This isn't the normal Gonzaga 13.5, 27.5 lines that we saw all season. There's a reason why it's 4.5 because the other side has a legitimate chance. Do I want to have that Baylor ticket in my pocket and go, damn, Jeff? Gonzaga hasn't lost all year. They're playing well tonight, and they're just ready for this, and they win by 10 points. That wouldn't surprise me either. So that's why I stayed away from the side. But I do think from an offensive perspective, Gonzaga is going to run downhill all game long. And the same philosophy I've taken in a lot of sports, I usually tend to look at the dog in that environment because if they play slightly better than what the experts think, they're going to be right in this game. The winner needs to get to 80. Baylor is going to be in at least the 70s, which gives me a crack at that 77.5. That's a high number. I usually like to look, Jeff, 67.5, 69.5. Hey, just get to 70, we cash a ticket. But this is a different game, and its only benefactor is, to me, Gonzaga is going to make sure Baylor gets a lot of shots. Donnie, why would you say that? Watch Gonzaga play. They push all the way. Extra shots for Baylor in this game. This isn't Villanova's going to slow it down. UCLA is going to slow it down. They're playing a team that is going to go 100 miles an hour all game. And if we shoot average from three-point range, what are we looking at for Baylor, Jeff? 10, 12, 13 made threes in this game?
Yeah, I think you are as well, maybe selling yourself a little short and just saying, like, why don't you just take the over? I mean, then you have both teams that are going to go back and forth, and you have –
I hear you.
And I will say this. We talked earlier, Donnie, about the buzzer beater, right? The catching the ball at the, let's say, the right below half court.
Yes.
Listen, this is why I would be a great coach, okay? I'm going to tell you why. Donnie, you have to make them catch the ball in the half court. You have to shove everybody up and say, you're going to catch the ball.
And I'm going to make you cross over. Yes. Yeah. Not free, no free sprint.
Yeah. You ain't just going to throw it down court. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know why this continues to happen where you allow him to catch the ball basically right where he wants it, make a dribble or two, and shoot a wide open shot. That was terrible defense by UCLA. They were caught off guard. I don't think they had any. Did they have timeouts there?
No. It was a layup, no timeouts, inbound. They went right away. Yep.
And that was the issue. Okay, because you have to call a timeout there. You have to say, okay, here's what we're going to do. It is almost like they were in a whirlwind. They didn't realize they had to get back on defense.
Yeah.
And they didn't get back
Credit
on
Gonzaga
defense.
for that, too. Getting it right to Suggs' full speed sprint down the sideline. So
Now, again,
Gonzaga was ready for that.
It's still a tough shot
Yes.
that he made, but he had an open look. There was no obstruction to him there.
Yeah.
Here's what I think happens in this game. This game's 84-81. 3.4 seconds to go.
Ooh.
Baylor's got the ball.
Foul.
They've got to do it. They've got to go the whole way.
Foul.
Few's not – well, yeah, that could happen. I think Few plays it, though, for some reason. Let's say there's even less time, 1.4 seconds. They got to do that play. I think Baylor loses at the buzzer on a missed an obstructed three. Gonzaga wins 84-81. I think they cover, but I think the game goes over. I don't want to have to root in and sit on the edge of my seat on what offense is just not going to make as many shots. I think both offenses will make shots. It's a fun way to have the game, and it's I think the right way to have the game. Both these teams are high level offensively, and I think that continues. Yep. I do think ultimately that Gonzaga will win, but I think it's a very close game. I think Baylor's had a great season, and Scott Drew, you got to give him a lot of credit as well, because I didn't know if he had this in him. So good for both coaches, maybe getting off the schneid a little bit. Donnie, who wins the game?
I'm going to go Gonzaga wins the game. I am. I already said I think Baylor has a legitimate chance at winning. I've watched Gonzaga play and looked at the final scores for the entire season, Jeff. Am I going to pick them to lose? They haven't lost yet. Forget about the spread. They just haven't lost yet. And they just played a UCLA team red hot that didn't miss a goddamn shot, and they still won. Yeah. And that resonates, man. It resonates.
Yeah, it was
they took that punch. They took the punch and said, hey, what's the big deal? Well, here we are Monday night playing for a title now.
The problem for UCLA was when he took that charge, the game was over. They weren't going to win because you knew they weren't.
If he doesn't take the charge, Jeff, if he steps in and tries to do something else, that's free throws. He had one chance to say, if I can get in place to get a charge, we have a chance. But if I go up and try to block him at the rim, 2 shots.
He was bad defensively the whole game. If you watch him one-on-one, and that's I think his issue in the league. When he goes to the league, he's not a good defender, and that's going to be his issue. But if you want energy, he is going to give you it. But that was a gutsy play to just stand there and. The way they call charges and blocks, who the hell knows at the end of the day what they're going to call. But
for the sanctity of the game, unless you're a UCLA fan, you had a UCLA ticket, I understand you're going to have a predetermined notion. You don't want it. Thank God that was called a charge, honestly. Did anybody want to say a half-second free throw win it? Stop.
No,
let
and that's
play, man.
That was my knock on that Texas game, Gabrielle Christian.
Let them play, man.
Texas lost. It was a first-round game, but you can't call that. I mean, no one wants to see a game end on free throws. Just doesn't.
Nope, nobody does.
But all right. I'm also going to play that first half team total for Gonzaga. Because why not? Yeah, exactly. Couple of comments here. By the way, Donnie, did you catch at all any of that women's game last night?
I did. I actually watched the last couple minutes of it. I did.
That was I like that coach a lot for Arizona. I think she's really gets it. I think the players love her, and I think she's really kind of the antithesis of a woman's coach. She kind of does. She's a mom. I read she has little kids, and that's pretty incredible. But that was a tough possession. I don't know how you go to the McDonald chick. You got to go somewhere else there.
But even worse than that, I didn't mind the last possession. You try to get off a shot, and I'm surprised she even got the shot off, and it was really close to going in.
But everyone knew you were going to go to her. But
the possession before, Jeff, with Stanford. She's been around that coach, Vanderveer or whatever, for 50 years. Mm-hmm. I need my best play here to score. All right, I'm going to draw this up. Stand at the half court, run the clock down, don't get a shot off.
Yeah, it was wrong.
So are we saying it's better to let the other team have a legitimate chance to score and beat you, or would you run your best play and get a wide open look with 10 seconds left? I still don't get it. I don't understand, Jeff. I don't.
I'm going to go out on a limb and again, Vanderveer might be the best coach in the country outside of Ariema. I'm going to go out on a limb and say she didn't write that up. I don't think that was her call.
Like what? Like you watch the entire game flow where they run set after set after set. But why, when you really need a bucket, you call stall and pray for a shot? I never will understand it.
I'm pretty sure she even commented at the end of the game that the late game execution was not good. I don't think she called that play, at least from what – she's a great coach. I don't think she called it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, that was a good game. That was a good series, really. It was a good kind of primer to this game. But all right, Donnie, let's wrap it up. Before we do that and get to our final picks, I know you commented on it. 2 for the Money. Watched it last night. Hadn't seen it.
Yep, me either.
Great movie. If you're a sports betting guy, you like sports betting, check 2 for the Money out. It's actually on demand on Comcast. You can watch it for free. Pacino really plays that tout in the 90s.
Yep.
Well, doesn't know anything about sports, yet makes a ton of money off knowing a lot about sports. And
boiler room, selling picks, pressuring people. I enjoy. I remember when it came out and I went to it. I think it was I want to say like maybe 2005, whenever 2005, it came out. Yeah. I actually saw it in the movie theater. Saw it like a couple years later and then disappeared off my radar. Because every time I'm looking for, I'll say it sometimes, like I don't feel like paying $4.99 to rent it. But it was up the other night and I'm like, let me watch it. And I enjoyed it again all over.
Yeah.
Again.
It's it's kind of like corny with like I always hate those
CM Novian.
Yeah. Oh, Armand, he's a great actor. Yeah. No, I always hate like the movies, like sports movies that use this like goofy, like fake football games. I hate that. Like I wish
quarterback in the beginning. Like
I feel like it should be illegal to do that, and like you should have to use like actual.
You should have to pay the NFL to be able to use their game footage.
Let's go to the Rattlers against the Scorpions.
Yeah, but if they used a real game, real situation that we all remember, like my God, I remember this missed kick.
No, just use real teams. It looks goofy, like having those like stupid, like lame teams.
And he's in the end zone, touchdown.
Yeah. But no. Brandon Lang is an interesting character. He's been around forever. And that's one thing about him that I always give him respect for. We know, Donnie, and I know there are always going to be people that will whine, touts are lame and whatever. It's a really tough business, okay? Like, you have a lot of pressure, and you look at that movie, he just got greedy. He just started picking games just because of coin flips and stuff. And yeah, go check it out if you haven't seen it. It's a great movie. All right, guys, we will wrap this thing up. We thank you for watching. And, I really want to thank everyone for checking out the show this entire time.
30 days. Went fast, didn't it? Went real fast.
We started this show at the beginning of college hoops. Pickswise contacted me and said, hey, you want to do something? And, I said, yeah, I'd love to do something. But I said, I want Donnie Rightside along here with me with the college show. And they said, let's do it. We did it. We grew the subscriber base. We ask you to like the show and subscribe to the channel because from what I understand, there's going to be some more content coming out. But I really enjoyed the content here. It was great to just come on every day, a little early, but we were able to get in, get out, get our content out there and have a good time with it. We've developed kind of another show here. And Donnie and I have done that for a long time together. We've always had chemistry in doing shows, and it was nice to come back and do something together. So we thank all of you for watching. We hope you enjoy the game tonight. I'll go 84-81 Gonzaga. The MVP will be Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs has been elite. And I think after that buzzer beater, you got to make him the MVP. Do they have MVPs? I don't even. Do they even
MOPs? Yeah, they call it MOP because I don't know why, but they do.
Most outstanding. I think they should.
Yeah, come on, man. MVP.
Well,
Jesus.
I'll actually say this. I actually think they should call MOP always. Because it is the best player. It's not the most valuable. Like, shut up.
We were just used to MVP. But again, everybody. The best part about it is everybody has their own different, saying or what the actual MVP should be. It's up for conjecture.
Anyway. Right. All right, give me a prediction, Donnie. Final
86-81 Gonzaga.
Okay, so you think Gonzaga cover?
I think Gonzaga. If Gonzaga, I can't come on here like I think Gonzaga wins but doesn't cover. Like that's corny, right? You can't say that. If I think legitimately Gonzaga wins, which I actually do, they're going to cover the spread. But I do think these teams approach 80. So that's my theory behind taking Baylor's team total. But I'm not going to come on here and give you the exact, my computer model says Baylor Gonzaga by 4.5 points. Like, I'm not going to tell you guys that's not fair.
Baylor will lose by 4.3 points.
Yes.
So final thing I want to say, kind of wrapping this all up. You can say what you want about me, and there are a lot of people that do. There are a lot of people that say what they want about Donnie. I don't really know how you can, because Donnie's very positive. A lot of people
what's going on here?
But ultimately, there's very few people in this business can do what we do. Okay, anyone can write a write-up about a game and copy and paste things. You come on here, we break it down, we have fun, and that's.
Is there any prep on this show? There's no prep on this show.
No.
We turn the camera on and go. There's no
that's
bullet
so
points.
True.
Nothing.
That's always been Donnie and I's thing. We don't I remember, and this is kind of a glimpse into what goes on. You remember Donnie Pixel said to me, "Hey, can you guys give me a rundown every day of what you're going to talk about?" And I said, "We don't really do that. We just run. We literally
just
get
run
on here
and then eventually we get down. Sure.
8:57, we get on here. I say, "Hey, Donnie, you ready to go?" "Yep, let's do it." We rock, and it's just all from the top. I wake up at 8:40, Donnie. I don't do any. The only prep I do is a coffee. That's the only prep I do. So I'm glad we were able to do this. It's been a weird season, but we got it finished, and we'll look forward to next year. You all have a great day. Thanks for watching the Hoops Betting Hour. Stay tuned for what we're going to do next. I believe we're going to get into more NBA and kind of enhance the show a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Donnie, thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining us here every day.
So much fun.
Hopefully we can link up down the road and finally link up, hopefully, after all this coronavirus stuff. But
we're vaccinated. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Have a great day. Make sure you go out and get vaccinated. That's another thing we want to say. Go do that. Sooner you do it, we get past all this stupid stuff. You guys have a great night. Enjoy the national title game. Gonzaga and Baylor tonight. Can't wait. I'm the big man on campus. He's Donnie Rightside. We are powered by Pickswise and presented by FanDuel. Thanks to FanDuel for promoting the show. We'll see you next time here on the Hoops Betting Hour. Enjoy the game.